Hi friends, it's Miss G and I thought it would be a great idea to check in and see how everyone's doing. I'm at home right now with my family and I'm enjoying my time with them, but I miss you guys so much. I thought it would be fun to share some of my favorite books with you while we're at home. Each week I'm going to choose one or two books to share, so keep an eye out for my stories. Let's get started with our first book called Owl Moon. Now this book is written by Jane Yolen and it's illustrated by John Schoenherr. And what I love about John Schoenherr is his illustrations. He does beautiful pictures in this story, so I'm going to point them out to you while we're reading, okay? So Owl Moon. It was late one winter night, long past my bedtime, when Pa and I went owling. There was no wind, the trees stood still as giant statues, and the moon was so bright the sky seemed to shine. Somewhere behind us, a train whistle blew long and low, like a sad, slow song. I could hear it through the woolen cap Pa had pulled down over my ears. A farm dog answered the train, and then a second dog joined in. They sang out trains and dogs for a real long time, and when their voices faded away, it was as quiet as a dream. We walked on towards the woods, Pa and I. So look at those beautiful trees. You can almost feel like you're in the woods with them. Our feet crunched over the crisp snow and little gray footprints followed us. Pa made a long shadow, but mine was short and round. I had to run after him every now and then to keep up, and my short round shadow bumped after me. But I never called out. If you go owling, you have to be quiet. That's what Pa always says. I had been waiting to go owling with Pa for a long, long time. We reached the line of pine trees, black and pointy against the sky, and Pa held up his hand. I stopped right where I was and waited. He looked up as if searching the stars, as if reading a map up there. The moon made his face into a silver mask. Then he called out, "Hoo, hoo, hoo!" The sound of a great horned owl. Hoo, hoo, hoo! Again he called out, and then again. After each call he was silent, and for a moment we both listened. But there was no answer. Pa shrugged and I shrugged. I was not disappointed. My brothers all said sometimes there's an owl and sometimes there isn't. We walked on. I could feel the cold as if someone's icy hand was palmed down on my back, and my nose and the tops of my cheeks felt cold and hot at the same time. But I never said a word. If you go owling, you have to be quiet and make your own heat. We went into the woods. The shadows were the blackest things I had ever seen. They stained the white snow. My mouth felt furry, for the scarf over it was wet and warm. I didn't ask what kind of things hid behind the black trees in the middle of the night. When you go owling, you have to be brave. Look at those trees. Oh, they look so scary. I would probably be a little nervous if I was the character in this book. Then we came to a clearing in the dark woods. The moon was high above us. It seemed to fit exactly over the center of the clearing, and the snow below it was whiter than milk in a cereal bowl. Wow, I love that image, whiter than milk in a cereal bowl. I can really picture it in my mind. I sighed and Pa held up his hand at the sound. I put my mittens over the scarf, over my mouth, and listened hard. And then Pa called, "Hoo, hoo, 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 hoo." I listened and looked so hard my ears hurt and my eyes got cloudy with the cold. Pa raised his face to call out again, but before he could open his mouth, an echo came threading its way through the trees. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Pa almost smiled. Then he called back, hoo, 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 just as if he and the owl were talking about supper or the woods or the moon or the cold. I took my mitten off the scarf off my mouth, and I almost smiled too. The owl's call came closer from high up in the trees on the edge of the meadow. All of a sudden, an owl shadow, part of the big tree shadow, lifted off and flew right over us. We watched silently with heat in our mouths, the heat of all those woods we had not spoken. The shadow hooted again. Wow, that must be so cool in this story. Pa turned on his big flashlight and caught the owl just as it was landing on the branch. Wow. For 1 minute, 3 minutes, maybe even 100 minutes, we stared at one another. So you could see, look at the detail in that owl. The illustrator does a beautiful job, wow. Then the owl pumped its great wings and lifted off the branch like a shadow without a sound. It flew back into the forest. Time to go home, Pa said to me. I knew then I could talk. I could even laugh out loud. But I was a shadow as we walked home. When you go owling, you don't need words or warm or anything but hope. That's what Pa says. The kind of hope that flies on silent wings under a shining owl moon. So I hope you enjoyed this book, Owl Moon. It's one of my favorites. And I'm excited to share with you some more stories next week. I hope all of you have an awesome day, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.